Welcome back to Hardware Unboxed for another episode of unwrapping packages. No, opening boxes. What was this segment called again? So to kickstart this episode, we'll start with this box here, which looks to be wrapped in Glad wrap. Not sure why that is, but anyway, we'll get into it and find out what it is. It's a heavy box. Quite a heavy box indeed. Alright, well, we'll just cut through everything and see what we find. Scratch the box. Okay, this is a brand I haven't actually looked at before. Drobo. Yep, Drobo, got it right. Well done, Steve. One moment. Ooh, skills. Okay, so we have the Drobo 5D. USB 3.0 Thunderbolt. I believe, yep. This isn't a NAS, it's a DAS. So that's direct attached storage, not network attached storage. Which means rather than plugging it into a network and having a heap of devices share the data on it, this is designed to be plugged into one computer and act as a larger secondary storage that also can be used to backup and whatnot. And obviously you can connect that using a Thunderbolt connection, though it looks like it may only be Thunderbolt 2, so this, not sure how long this product's actually been in the wild for. And yeah, USB 3, so not 3.1 Gen 2. So that's interesting. We'll have a quick look at it anyway. Not sure how much of actual factual information I can tell you about this device, apart from what's written on the box. Nope, lost the grip. Alright, we'll just take it out of this shopping bag that it comes in. Alright. Lots of pretty lights on this one. Prepare yourselves, here we go. Why does that rarely go to plan? Wow, that's cool though. It has a magnetic front cover. So as you can see, that just sucks into place. That's cool. And we have a sticker behind it. 5 3.5-inch drive bays. Now the power cord fell out of the back. So we've got a green LED light for drive activity and a whole heap of blue LED lights at the bottom that indicate something that we're yet to discover. So just to recap, you can put 5 3.5-inch hard drives in this, then they can be configured in various RAID arrays. You can, use that for backing up or whatever. I'm assuming RAID 5 or 6 is probably supported. Don't quote me on that, I'm sure one of them is. So if you do have one of the drives drop out, it will rebuild itself. Your data will remain secure. There's also in the bottom, I believe, yes, there is an M-SATA port. Those drives are still relatively easy to come by. So there you go. M-SATA drive goes in the bottom there, and that's used for SSD caching. So I'm not sure how much of an impact that has on performance. Just looking around the device. So it must be relatively old. It's definitely not a new product because it doesn't have Thunderbolt 3 support, only Thunderbolt 2. Pair of Thunderbolt 2 ports there. And as I said, it's the USB 3 spec, so not 3.1 Gen 2. So that's a little disappointing. I'm not sure if there's a new model in the works. If there is, I'm not sure why they would have sent this out so late in the game. And yeah, it is very pricey, this unit. $550 US or $740 Australian, which you can pretty much get a decent 4-bay anyway, NAS for that price, which, performance-wise, I imagine is fairly similar. Gigabit Ethernet connection, often around that price. I think the 4-bays can do things like link aggregation and whatnot. So I'd like to actually hear what you guys think. Would you consider something like a DAS, or would you just get a NAS anyway, since they're a lot more flexible and can essentially do what a DAS does anyway? I know QNAP have recently put their USB 3 copy feature that can turn their NAS into a DAS, so you can just plug it in and use it as a USB external drive. So that kind of covers what this thing does anyway, minus the Thunderbolt. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Is a DAS something you would consider anymore, or is it just like get a NAS and be done with it? Okay, so that was interesting, different, not the norm, that's for sure. But what we have here is a box with GX tape on it, so that's got to be Galax. So I'm thinking a graphics card. It's sort of graphics card shape and weight. So we'll see what they have for us. I don't think it's a 1080 Ti. The box looks a bit too small for a 1080 Ti, but you never know. Not a 1080 Ti. Not a 1080 Ti, I can tell you guys that much. This is still very, very cool though. Very cool indeed. So it's a 1070, and you might be thinking, not another Galax 1070, but this one is the Katana model. So that's a single slot GTX 1070. I've been dying to get my hands on this ever since they announced it. Something quite different. Of course, I'm definitely going to take it out of the box and show you guys what it looks like. And I will definitely be reviewing this. Hopefully I can get it done next week. Alright. Actually quite excited to see this. So weird seeing a high-end single slot graphics card. So strange. Feels like a blast from the past seeing a single slot graphics card. Wow. That is cool. So, obviously, a bit of a niche product. It's not something everyone's going to be after. It will have limited uses, but it will be useful in certain situations, very useful, and it will do something that no other card can do. So really where this will probably be most useful, there are mini ITX systems where you can really only fit a single slot card, though they're few and far between now. Most mini ITX builds or cases are designed with dual slot cards in mind. So not super necessary for those, but larger micro ATX cases is what I was going for. Larger micro ATX builds, which sounds a bit silly because you'd think it'd be the smallest builds that would benefit from these, but the micro ATX builds where you have the two PCI slots, expansion slots side by side, most boards have at least two. With a dual slot card, you obviously wipe out the second one that can't be used. And for gamers, that's not such a big deal. Except for guys that want to use an extra add-in card to improve, like a sound card, for example, or maybe an NVMe SSD on a adapter card, or additional SATA controller or Thunderbolt 3 or something like that, where they want to add a second card. This is where this becomes really handy, because the second card would sort of probably go something like that. It wouldn't block the fan. That's still quite a way back here. So some sort of second card, you can put that in your system, and you don't have to sacrifice that PCI Express slot. So that's very cool. So although this model that I have here is a Galax branded card, their alternate brand for, I believe it targets Europe, the European market, is KFA2 if I'm recalling correctly. Anyway, both Galax and KFA2 are produced by Palette. Anyway, you will have seen the GTX 1080 Ti Superjet Stream reviewed on the channel. Big, beefy graphics card. So to make this graphics card so thin, one slot thin, it's obviously a completely redesigned and custom PCB. I believe it's a 4+1 VRM on this card, which is still plenty for a GTX 1070. And something interesting that you all note around at the I/O end, that we have sacrificed, I think it's 2 of the DisplayPort connectors here. We have 1 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI, and 1 dual-link DVI. So you can still have triple monitors off this card, but you have to use, obviously, those connections. And then they are claiming a base operating frequency of 1518 megahertz, which results in a boost frequency of 1708 megahertz. So that should allow for some decent performance out of this single slot card. Anyway, I won't go on about this too much. I'm actually keen to jump in the review and testing of this thing and see how it actually runs. So there will be a review on this on the channel within the next week or so. Quite a few things coming up, but yeah, I'll squeeze this in because I am keen to check it out for myself. And as I speak right now, pricing isn't available in the US. I believe at the moment it's 600 Australian for this particular model, but availability is still very poor, so expect pricing to improve as availability improves. Okay, next up we have a rather large box from MSI. Actually, I think I know what this is. This could be very cool as well. Okay, it's a black box with MSI written on it. Nope, still no closer. Actually, here we go. This is what it is. It is a laptop. You guys have probably guessed that by this point. Sure, the suspense was just killing you. But here we go, laptop. Ooh, rather impressive little laptop. Oh, there we go, it's a power adapter. Alright, I'll get all that off the table. So you guys might be wondering, what are you doing with a laptop, Steve? This is definitely Tim's department. Well, I'm not stepping on Tim's toes with this one. Now, the reason I have this brand new MSI GS43 laptop is because I will be taking it to Computex. That's right, I'm going to Computex this year for Harbour Unboxed. So very excited about that. MSI has been kind enough to sponsor the channel, so thank you very much, MSI. And they've also provided a laptop so I can edit videos and do all that sort of stuff while I'm over in Taiwan. And so I'm going to read directly off the box because I actually have no idea what is in this apart from the fact that it does have a 7th gen Core i7 processor and a GeForce GTX 1060. It's probably all you really need to know. So the Core i7 processor is the 7700 HQ. It's the 6GB GTX 1060. It has a 1TB hard drive, a 256GB SSD, 16GB of DDR4 memory, and the rest is pretty standard stuff. So a decent laptop for sure. Very nice and compact, very light. One thing though, it is a 14-inch panel, which isn't too much of a problem for video editing, though it is only a 1080p display, so that could be a bit difficult for the videos. I'll test it anyway and see how I go, but that's what I have for the moment anyway. So Computex starts in about a week and a half, and obviously I'll be using this for creating my videos while I'm at Computex. So, but before then, I am keen to do a bit of benchmarking on this, see how well it does perform in Premiere, so do some Premiere benchmarks, and of course with the GTX 1060, you know there'll be some gaming benchmarks as well. Hopefully I'll be able to squeeze in some gaming while I'm over there. Unlikely, but, you know, nice to think that I could. So yeah, more to come on this laptop for sure. Gee, they're gotta love the way the laptops get passed around to so many reviewers. This thing is very grimy. MSI could have cleaned it up for me. I'll let them off on that one though. I'll give it a clean up in a minute. So yeah, MSI laptop. Now, we have just one last package, very small one. And I have opened this already, had a peek inside because I wasn't sure if it was related to the Harbour Unboxed channel, and it is. So in the last episode of Unboxing Boxes, you would have seen me unbox the Master Liquid Pro cooler, the 280mm radiator. A couple of you pointed out that that generally doesn't come with the AM4 mounting gear, and you were spot on, it doesn't. So Cooler Master have sent that along separately. So hopefully you guys who are owed a AM4 mounting kit will have them before too long, because Cooler Master clearly do have them. Not a lot to it really, just two brackets that obviously allow it to be installed on an AM4 socket, and a couple of screws and things, which I'm not sure if they're different to the ones that you will have received with the 280 anyway, but you've got those. So, speaking of which, I will have that Cooler Master build ready, hopefully very soon on the channel, in a couple of days' time. Depends on how we go with the schedule and what I have planned. But I'll give you guys a bit of a look at what I've done so far. It's not what I'd planned, let's just say that. If you guys recall, I unboxed the MasterCase 5T in the last episode, and that is a phenomenal case. It's got the dual tempered glass panels on either side. It's got the red accents inside, the red painting. That looks cool for the motherboard tray, and there's a few other bits, and it's got some red on the front. Looked really, really cool, except I am going to do a Ryzen 5 build in it, a high-end 1600X build. And I know AMD's color scheme is red, black, red, and it's kind of the common thing, the common build theme, I should say. Whereas the boxes and Ryzen's color scheme seems to be more orange and grey. So I thought, why not paint the case orange and possibly grey? Grey wasn't really planned. I thought I'd just go with orange and black. And then you give me a spray can and things just get out of hand. and yeah, a few of you guys that follow me on Twitter will have seen the monstrosity, but quite a few of you seem to like it. I'll grab it now and show you. So there you go, surprise. It's very out there. So unfortunately the grey I ended up using is a lot lighter than I should have used, as you can see here. Should have gone with a lot darker grey. The orange I managed to get pretty close. It's pretty close to the orange, so I think the orange colour is acceptable, but the grey is a bit light. But as quite a few of you pointed out, it actually looks like an Overwatch build, so maybe I might have to incorporate that into it somehow. But yeah, so that's where we're at with that. Don't know how well you guys can see that. Might have to get some extra B-roll. There's the front door. So I'm pretty happy with how it's come up, actually. You got the feet on the bottom. So I've I don't know how well you can see the motherboard up there, but I've also custom painted the motherboard and the memory and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, that should be quite an interesting build. I haven't gone that over the top on a build before. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how it's all come up. The paint I used was really cool. I'll probably talk more about that in the actual build video. But anyway, so that's coming up shortly, that build. So that'll be cool. And now I finally have the mounting bits, so I can actually start the build and finish the build. So that pretty much does it for this episode. I am very keen to check this out though. That's a sweet looking little graphics card there. As I said, obviously you've got to have a need for it. It's kind of a niche product. It's not going to suit everyone. It will be for very particular builds. So that's going to do it for this episode of Unboxing Boxes. We had a Drobo DAS, and I'm really keen, before I even think about reviewing this, what you guys think of a DAS these days, whether they're worth, especially expensive ones like this, like $550 US. That's a lot of money for a DAS. I know it's got the Thunderbolt support, but it's Thunderbolt 2 now, so how useful is that? Then this graphics card, which I'm pretty sure that'll pan out very nicely, as will my Cooler Master build, which has gotten a little out of hand. Let me know what you guys think of the design. I know it's a bit gamerish, a bit childish almost, and it's probably not something I would normally use, but I've kind of grown fond of it, kind of like it. It's cool because, well, first of all, I did it myself, so it's always nice to mod something yourself and say that you've done it yourself, but it's also one of a kind as well, so that's also pretty cool. Not always a good thing, but anyway, let me know what you guys think. So yeah, a bit of a rushed episode here, apologies for that. Things are going to be a little bit rushed on the channel for the next week until I get to Computex. There's a lot of things I have to get ready and sorted out that's sort of taking away from the creation of the videos. But I didn't have much to unbox this time anyway, so don't know how long this episode went for, but it was a bit of fun and got some cool gear that I'm keen to check out. So that's it for this episode of Unboxing Boxes. I'm your host Steve. See you again next time, guys.